Hey, what's going on, everyone? Sorry for my tardiness today. As many of you know, we are training some more support team guys, and today I'm working with Tim. Actually, I've only been working with Tim for a couple of days, but he is out in Europe. Hopefully you can hear me all right. Let me just check my audio here. Okay, well, sounds all right. It's kind of echoey, eh? Tell me how the volume is here. I'm just... All right, fine. Let's view the stream. What's going on, guys? Thanks for joining me here on Twitch. Voodoo Water. What's happening? Happy Thursday! It is Thursday today, isn't it? Thanks. Thanks for reminding me of that massive mistake I made on Tuesday. For those of you who missed it, on Tuesday I came on here and said it was Thursday and was so excited about the end of the week, and then it dawned on me that I was wrong. Yeah. Oh well, that happens. Yeah. Gosh, that was in my defense. Not that I need to validate this. Happy Thursday, Bugsy. Berksy, how's it going? Not that I need to defend this necessarily, but in my defense, I had slept the night on the couch because I was up all night with some pretty severe back pain, which is gone, by the way. A miracle has been performed somehow that my back problems are no longer. So not only am I able to sit for long periods of time, which is probably the cause, yeah, I'm not in writhing pain like I was on Tuesday. So Thank you for all the well wishes for the ones of you that wished me well. I appreciate that. Welcome. Oh man, the viewer count just jumped up like 5, 6 more people. I'm gonna check that. Oh boy. Beep Chirp sent me something, a message. Oh boy. That's never a good thing. B&H, whoa. Apparently, over there, okay. Apparently there's a scathing review. Maybe it has my name on it. So let's load these reviews here. Love the camera, best quality and color. Camera, I use this camera to stream my church services. I also have a keyboard. Plan on buying a second one. Picture quality is really good. There's no when there's no gain. I'm disappointed with the iris closed. When the iris closes quite a bit, so I need to keep my gain at 7 dBs. The image suffers. Still looks professional. Looking forward to. Well, he didn't buy a $10,000 camera. He bought a $3,000 camera. Anyway, that's just me. Easy to connect on my PoE Ubiquity switch. Okay, so that's a. He gave us 4 stars. That's cool. Run one cable and you're up and running. PoE control video all over a single network cable. Full NDI, not HX. Low bandwidth flavor. Can adjust the bandwidth when you need. Yeah, you can, but you shouldn't. Does impressively well in low light, just in full auto. I give this product 2 thumbs up. Very crisp. Oh, 1 thumb up. Very crisp and vibrant output. Okay, so then the disappointing review is okay, and it's a shot at support. So on paper, these look great. BirdDog Cloud is exactly what we're looking for with PTZ, especially with talkback features. It seems to be unique to BirdDog. However, we had to send our cameras back. We had technical issues with both of them. One being hardware. Hardware. Chintzy IO TRS sockets that were not reinforced came loose on day 1, and both cameras broke off inside the units on day 2. The other units simply wouldn't go online. For those of you who have P200s, do your audio sockets fall off on first day? They shouldn't. I've got like all sorts of cameras in here that don't have broken audio ports. When trying to get it resolved, get support to resolve this, our emails were met with some indifference, and some correspondence was delayed by a week. Long story short, we waited to try and get the support needed to fix the issue, but we missed deadlines doing so, and we had to return the unit. Support quality and expediency is just not there. Alright, fair enough. Fair enough, Dan. Let's actually see what the case is. Let's find out what happened. Not that one. Latency question. Cool. Not that guy. 4K quad issues. Repair. I don't know what that is. Instability. That one's closed. Baseboard firmware for P200. Nope, not that one. That's a current one. It's not this guy because he loves me. Dan. Network help. If you could send a step-by-step guide on how to use these networks, that would be great. No, I'm not configuring your network. All right, so from Beep Chirp is usually good and really bad. For sure. Yeah, I happened to see it. I don't actually see this guy's ticket about the P200s. Anybody named Dan or Daniel, I've reviewed all of them. They're not here. There's a David, but that's not a Daniel. That one's closed. Baseboard firmware for P200. Something about an audio jack? Is that what he said? Just type in Dan Jack. Wall mount question. What is this? That's closed. Dan Matan. I know that's not him because he's the owner of Broadfield. One of them. Not this guy. Comms issues. Keyboard repair. Nope, that's not a Dan. All right, so I should respond to that and say, what ticket number is yours? I don't have anything from a Dan about an audio jack being broken on 2 P200s and me not responding for a month. Anyway, I won't take it personal. And unfortunately with support, you can't win them all. That is just the real deal. Bugzeek, did you just submit another ticket like 20 minutes ago? Clues are in short supply these days, yeah. Well, and people love to... The age of information and the age of Facebook. People love to get on Facebook and have their platform. And usually it's at the expense of somebody's or some company's integrity. So anyway, not bitter. On to the next ticket. Got to keep your head up, keep your eyes forward, because looking back and worrying about what could have been or what went wrong or what was done or not done, it's not helpful. You gotta just get on with it. So, here we go. Clues are in short, not that I know of. Okay. Well, maybe it's a different guy then. Not that I know of. Like you submit tickets unconsciously or something. So NDI takes more bandwidth than NDI HX, but it's easier processed. It is easier processed than HX. So, hey, how's it going? I'm not going to butcher that name, so I'll call you 01. How's it going? Thanks for stopping by. I haven't seen your username in here before, so thanks for popping in. HX and full bandwidth NDI, or full NDI full, is basically a background music. What, is it missing or something? And how's it going, media? Birdoo Media. The music is there. Can you not hear it? It is. I kind of try and turn it way down so that it doesn't overpower my voice, but let me know if you can't hear it or you hear too much of it. I'll take your cue. I'm not monitoring the show today. I really should. Oh man, tickets keep reopening. Okay, cool. So the HX is a software encode that takes Y is on. It is on. It should be on. It's to fill in the dead space. That's what the music is for. It's too much. It's too loud. All right, I'm gonna view the feed to figure out what it is that you're talking about. My microphone has been moved around too much for the past few days Zoom meetings, so your mic is a bit low. All right, how is that? Is that better? Should be better. Should be a fair bit. Your mic is too low. Now it's too loud. All right, hang on. You're gonna hear double here for a second. Mic is a bit low. All right, how was that? Is that better? Should be better. Should be a fair. Bueno, now you're using a foreign language. Now It's perfect in my ears. Thank you, Bugzeek. I appreciate that. So, no bueno would be a bad thing. So, bueno is a good thing? Canadian. Use Canadian English. The background music is overwhelming? Really? Alright, hang on. I am going to listen to the show on my phone. I disagree with that assessment. On my phone, it is not overwhelming. And Bugzeek says it's perfect in my ears. There's 2 votes. Anybody else feel like the music's too loud? I need everybody to chime in here. Maybe I could run a poll. Let's see. We'll go here. How do I do this? Manage moderation settings. Balance is good. It's fine. Okay, so 3 votes for it's good. Your mic was low earlier, but it's better now. A little. It was at first. All right. So are we of the consensus now that the volume is okay? I pulled down the music before. It's good now. Okay, cool. All right, I'm gonna take the general consensus that we're good with the levels. So I should just speak up. I should just start talking really loud. Start yelling. Actually, there should be compression on the line, so it shouldn't waver too much, but we'll see. Anyway, okay, so before we went down this rabbit hole, what were we doing here? Okay, so the NDI HX and NDI full bandwidth conversation. HX is a software encode. It's high latency, low bandwidth, meaning that it is less, obviously, like less real time and more easy on your network. So it doesn't require as much. Actually, it requires very little compared to full NDI. Full NDI is high bitrate, low latency, and when we say high bitrate, we average between 120, 140 megabits per second. So, okay, so yes, it's not a software program. However, when it is written in camera firmware, it's an update on most cameras. They don't build NDI HX cameras around the HX standards. They build basically a Visca IP camera, and then they write the HX protocol to work on the baseboard of the camera. And so it technically is from what I can tell, a Linux program that runs and encodes it just like you can run it. You can download the NDI protocol and run it on a Raspberry Pi. It's the same idea. But yes, okay, so I will agree with this. It's modified H.264. Agreed. It's basically video IP protocol wrapped in H.264. Anyways, the difference is that the latency is much different, and the requirements of your network are much different. It's the difference between a utility and a high performance device, as far as I'm concerned. So the two, one gets the job done. One is more suitable for like iMag and it really depends on your application, I guess. But also the Sony sensors in our cameras and that sort of thing in our mid to high level cameras are, I think, some of the best on the market. So you get the Sony lens, half-inch lens at least. If you do the P4K, that's a whole 1-inch sensor. But it's a good, it's a good balance. Anyway, thank you for correcting me, Michael Gray. Here's the thing is, like, when you deal with explaining it to people all the time, you have to boil it down to terms that people like, you know, that people can grasp pretty quickly. Because if you really get into it, you know, people are going to want to know a lot more detail, which is just that you can talk about it for a long time, which is why I run this show 2 hours a week, because there's lots to talk about. We try and cover most of it, but which is why NewTek is having issues with the new HX Android camera app. So much variability in hardware encoders on Android phones. Oh, interesting. That I did not know. I didn't know that that was something they were dealing with. What? Oh, I think I understand what he's asking. I'm looking at NDI for installing into a church. I've read a lot about needing a very high-spec computer. Is this because a lot of cameras are HX? Is full NDI easier decoded by computer than HX? Well, hang on. There's lots of questions there. First of all, what are you using to produce your service? Are you going to be using vMix? Are you using TriCaster? Are you using OBS? Are you using Wirecast? What flavor of encode are you planning on doing? The second question is, what is the Wirecast? Okay, so what is the network infrastructure? What are you planning on purchasing for the network infrastructure? Because with HX, you can get away with some... you can get away with certain switches, although I don't do any HX stuff, so I can't really speak to this. Michael might have more experience than I do on this one, but with full NDI, you really need to have a layer 2 switch network with the DHCP option turned on, enabled, and functioning on a single subnet. You need to let the network do most of that stuff. Okay, Ubiquiti Pro Gen 2. Have you... Hey! Who's that? How's it going? Wesnet Designs? Let's give you the little... everybody cover your ears. This is going to be a little bit... I think. It's going to be a little loud. Hey, this one's for you. Appreciate that. Thanks for following along. That's always fun. And we've had several other people, if you look at the ticker at the bottom, several people have followed us when the show's not on. So that's pretty fun. I think they're finding us through the auto response email that ever helped us. So cool. Welcome. Thanks for following. That I really appreciate that. Okay, Ubiquiti Pro Gen 2. Have you already purchased these switches? That is a pretty critical question with the Gen 2s. Okay. The Ubiquiti changed the way they process data in their Gen 2 units. I had this discussion the other day with a guy, well, it's like a couple weeks ago now, with a guy who does installs, but he's a fairly well-known network administrator in Canada, and he does a lot of major network broadcast stuff. He was using the Ubiquiti 1 stuff for small church installations, and then they came up with Gen 2. So he started putting that stuff in just in small installations, and it wasn't working. So he inquired as to what's going on with the Gen 2 stuff, and he found out that much of the Gen 2 processing power is software-driven. It's no longer hardware-based, which is what Gen 1 was. So I have all Gen 1 switches here in my office. I have a small test bench that's a Ubiquiti network, but it's all Gen 1, which is all hardware. You know, the pretty noisy fans and that sort of thing. Gen 2 is mostly software, which he speculates, and I don't have this confirmed because I don't have any Gen 2 switches, but he speculates because it's software driven in terms of traffic and all that sort of stuff, the switches are generally not able to keep up with the NDI environment. This isn't to discourage you from using your Gen 2 switches that you just purchased. However, you need to know flat out, this is quite possibly going to be a problem. So you're welcome to test it out, see how it goes, set it up, get your DHCP enabled, use a gateway with Ubiquiti because they're helpful, and then set up the DHCP, set up a self-regulated network. You know, the switches will take on the routing information or whatever. And then if you need to, the nice thing with Ubiquiti is you can add fixed addresses, and then you don't have to set any static stuff on the cameras. That's not advised in the NDI world, not to use static. People look at me funny when I say don't use static settings. The reason is that in the AV market, yes, static is a thing, and it's actually a common practice. In the NDI world, though, it's not recommended. And that's all I'm going to say about that. You can push me on that as much as you want, but if you tell me that you set static addresses on your cameras and they're not working right, I'm going to tell you to set up a DHCP server. So there it is. That's the reality, is NDI works better on DHCP than it does in static. And if you tell me you have problems on your static network and that you've been doing AV installations for 30 years, and trust me, I get these people all the time telling me that I'm wrong. And I say, maybe, but I have a DHCP network with a P4K, a P100, and a P200, and 3 BirdDog Minis running on it most of the time, and it's fine. I don't have any issues. So that's the deal. Yeah, Ubiquiti Pro are the most costly models, more costly at least, with 10 gig SFP. I have a non-Pro Gen 2. Hey, Michael, so have you done any performance testing on this? Because I don't have a Gen 2. I'm just taking the concerns of somebody who I respect a fair bit in the networking world, basically saying, he said, and I quote, no, I don't quote, he generally said he had more than 10 Ubiquiti Gen 2 switches, and he sent them all back for Gen 1s. And that is very interesting to me. There's also a new switch out, which I have on order. Oh, I should check on that. I have on order, it's the Netgear M4250, and it says in their marketing that it has a profile for NDI specifically, which is like huge. So if that's true, and it works really well, that might be something that we take a closer look at. So it works fine for small setups, 4 sources, vMix. Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that. I've had bad experience with Ubiquiti. I bought a 16150, that's what I have, for a test, but I wasn't able to turn on the flow control. I mean, I turned it on, but it doesn't have any effect on specific ports. And then when I had 3 NDI BirdDogs, I wasn't able to get non-stuttering image. Microtech with flow control per port is working fine. Interesting. I don't have that problem of mine. So I was running a test last Sunday with 2 HX sources. My old MacBook Pro was 60% CPU usage. I was wondering if it was decoding the HX. Is full NDI easier on... No. With vMix, vMix brings in the full value of the NDI stream, and so it's decoding the full value. So you're decoding like 8 or 10 megs with those HX streams. Full NDI is 130. So it's not going to be easier on the CPU. You know, unless you're decoding it before it gets to vMix and you're bringing it in on a capture card, but that would be kind of pointless with HX because vMix is designed to talk HX or NDI. So it's not easier. vMix is very heavy on the processing, and we're actually developing a tool that will help us show that in real time so that you can put it on your Windows PC and select all the sources that will be coming into vMix and see what your CPU does. It's not ready yet, but I don't know. I'm not an HX shop. I actually don't own any HX devices other than my iPhone, which has that app. Which is okay, but it's not great. Which I despise. That's weird. Maybe Switch is okay, but my NIC card on my computer is not powerful enough. That's possible. I test both. I have a 10 gig NIC card, a dual NIC card actually, and then I have a fiber port card that uses SFP plus 10 gig, and everything seems to work pretty well. It would make sense because when I had 3 times NDI, 1 Dante, I had an issue with Dante, but there was an issue with Switch, computer path for sure. I'm glad that you've confirmed to me that this exact ubiquity works for you. Yeah, it works for me in my test environment. I don't have a production environment in here, so I'm not doing live shows other than this, and this isn't really over NDI. I have some NDI inputs in OBS, but not anything else. What about Wirecast? Wirecast, from what I recall, I was under the impression that Wirecast used the proxy for preview and for load-in, and then, but I could be wrong. Wirecast also builds their own machines, right? Like, you can download the software. But one of the things about going with Telstream is that you can buy a pre-configured machine, and they should be able to tell you what it can and can't do. So going with a solution like Wirecast is a little bit, it's like, to me, it's another step than just vMix, which is heavily reliant on whatever computer you come up with. But the Wirecast actually makes their own machines sometimes, so those are helpful. I mean, obviously, the TriCaster is the bee's knees, but it's the heaviest and the most expensive. So you have to really know what you're doing with a TriCaster. I'm using my iPhone to test before I purchase the cameras. Really like the P200, but as a first-time buyer looking around, the majority of camera... Yes, BirdDog is, for the most part, the only full NDI house. Everybody else has an HX flavor, and some of them are dabbling in the full NDI realm. I talked to my direct superior late last week, and he said that we're still technically the only camera company out there with full NDI that's doing it according to the NDI standard. Even I thought the PTZ2, which was coming out, was supposed to do full NDI. I'm not 100% sure that it's been released yet. Nope. PTZ2, NDI HX. I thought that was supposed to be. Hi, John. Hey, BirdDogJon. 123. The goal is, I have a P100 and a Razer Blade i7, New York, actor in front of a green screen. I want to grab the NDI signal via BirdDog Cloud in Berlin, to key it, and project it on a big screen for theater project. Right now I do the testing, and I do not have a proper SRT connection. In NDI monitor, the receiving PC, it sees the BirdDog P100 on the in Berlin, right? I can control the PTZ camera, but I have a green image. Well, green means data loss, typically. If you have a green image, you may not have anything wrong with cloud. There may be something wrong with the P100. Can you open Studio Monitor in the New York office on the New York computer over like TeamViewer or Zoom or something and check Studio Monitor, make sure the P100 is generating the picture correctly? Green usually means that there's no video data, and so it fills it in with a green color. That happens when lenses go bad. You'll get little green like artifacts and stuff. I did with TeamViewer. And confirm that the P100 is working correctly. There is an image. Okay. But you're getting green on your side. What encode process are you using in New York? What's your configuration encode? NVENC, QuickSync, or CPU? Just straight, 264 or whatever it is. Straight into the computer. There's no GPU acceleration or anything like that. P100. So hang on. The P100 goes into the network where the computer is on. Computer has the endpoint running. When you go into the configuration screen, let me get my cloud endpoint, I guess, up and running here. Let's just take a look at mine. See what it is that's going on here. Be sure that you check the recording path. That is actually a critical field that needs to be a valid folder or location on your hard drive for both endpoints. That can throw errors where NDI streams don't work because you have an invalid recording path, even if you're not using the recording function. So heads up. All right, let's move this over here. Fire up my NDI source. Get my cloud endpoint running. CPU is just coming along here this morning. So where did I read that NewTek had a full NDI camera coming out? Did I miss something? Or did I, like... Is it the Spark Plus 4K? Is that what it is? I think Vadio has a full NDI camera. Vadio cameras. By Legrand? Sounds French. Camera selector. Really? You took me to a PDF? Okay. Well, it's got a cross section, so that might actually be helpful. Not in the same class as a BirdDog. From what I see, I would agree, but doesn't mean that it's not. Video outputs here. Currently don't have it listed as NDI HX or NDI full. All they say is IP streaming. 3G is the IP streaming thing. Is that them saying HX or NDI? Not in that manual. Doesn't show that camera there. Oh, here. Signal type. NDI. There are two cameras that speak NDI. The first one is the RoboShot 12E. And the second one is Specs. Interesting. I've never seen this camera before. It looks a little weird, but anyway, whatever. Yeah, it's definitely not like a P200 competitor, but good for them. It says native NDI streaming, but it doesn't actually say full bitrate anywhere. I hate that they don't specify. I mean, come on. Everybody just says, oh, it speaks NDI, and then they like buy a whole bunch of different products, and they're like, why don't they all work together? It's like, because they're different languages. They're based in Minnesota, but they were bought by Legrand last year. Is there a step-by-step tutorial PDF on how to set up two endpoints? There are tutorial videos. That would probably help. Have you seen the video set? There you go. They're like little 1-2 minute videos. Shows how it works. And I think I did a video Did I not? Solutions. Endpoint. I did a quick overview of cloud. This one. Whoa, 13 people. How's it going, everybody? You guys keep pouring in here. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate that. Google tech specs, RoboShot 12E, and our cameras are currently the only cameras that offer full native NDI. But native NDI could mean like the NDI language, which could also classify as HX. But the problem is that the full NDI brand requires specific silicone to be developed and implemented in your camera. So if they build their own cameras, like if they don't manufacture them from someone else, and they don't have to integrate a chip that they developed, like if they build it from the ground up, then they can work it into their own memory and they don't have an additional thing. But yes, but not the explanation on how to set up the router camera and PC IP wise. Well, all right, I'll walk through that in a second. Other cameras are HX, which is suited for limited bandwidth installations. Gotcha. All right, so the BirdDog Cloud stuff. The explanation of how to set up the router. So you mean the camera on the source? Is that what you're talking about? So your matrix looks something like this, where you know, you might have other endpoints or whatever, but it's kind of the idea. So here I am in the US, and I want to send my signal to Phil over in London. So I'm going to take the transmit side and click on the matrix that says from me to London. Okay, so here we go. So we need to pick our configuration. You haven't set a configuration up. We really need to probably cover that for you. I talk about that in the BirdDog Cloud connection and with endpoints video. That's on that second link that I sent. But basically we pick our whatever we're doing for encode, and in my case I'm using actually NVENC cards. So I pick NVENC. I want to just say single stream because that's what I've got, and I'm going to say my P100. I'm going to add PTZ control and tally. Not going to put a failover source. No audio because I'm not sending audio, and it's important to differentiate if you aren't sending audio. Cut that out because that saves on bandwidth and it also helps with the encode. And then port number 5555. Now this is open on my network, right? So my computer is on a network that's here at my house that I govern with a DNS with Raspberry Pi hole and a Google Wi-Fi network. And so it takes the internet in as a WAN signal and converts it to my IPs and then sends it around my house. So here though, I've gone in and actually whitelisted my computer to be able to talk between 5555 and 5575. So my IP on this machine can go out through the firewall on that on these ports, so that cloud will work. And vice versa, they can accept incoming transmissions from these ports as well. Max queue size frames 10, it's fine. Latency, this is by default 120, that's also fine. SRT overhead 25. I'm not going to allow packet drop, and I can go into that if you don't know what that is, but that's fine. SRT, I don't need to encrypt this. Video decoder. So on the other side, do you have an NVENC card or an NVIDIA decode? Do you have an NVIDIA card over there? If you do, great, we can leverage that on the other side now. That's actually relatively a new feature. If you have an Intel card, you could leverage the acceleration there, or we can just say auto, so you detect it over there and do what you do. And then a couple of reasons why you might do this, but I'm just going to leave it on default, which is timecode. I'm going to connect. And that made this connection right here, which is pretty much instantaneous. Now, when you set up your endpoints, you can go in and edit your endpoints, and in there's something that says thumbnail refresh in milliseconds. By default, it's set to 0. Change that to 1000. That means every second your matrix will update an image, and you can click on the little eyeball and we can see what it is that we're sending. So this is my P100 that's sitting right there on my desk, and I can see that I'm sending that over to Phil. And what happens is the endpoint is encoding, and then it's sending 1 frame per second up to cloud. When we're passing data from endpoint to endpoint, it's a direct connection from IP to IP. But 1 frame picture basically is going up to cloud and saying this is what we're seeing. And the receiving side does it, the transmitting side does it, and then the receiving side does it as well. So they both reiterate what is it that we're seeing and processing. This is not a man in the middle thing where the AWAS server or whatever is watching the stream. This is the endpoint relaying that information to the cloud. So in many cases you'll see the transmit, but then you won't see the receive side or the destination. And the reason for that is because it can get out, but not on the other side. Oh, hey Phil, how's it going, man? So Phil is BirdDog Phil is in here with us, Phil, and he just reported that he's receiving my stream on that side. So he's receiving the audio or the video, no audio. He's hopefully getting about 60 frames per second, and things seem pretty stable, like in terms of sending this information over. Couple of things to pay attention to, and by the way, BodoGot, I don't know if this is actually on my matrix. All is plus, but not SRT. So you don't have this here. Why do you want to send it SRT? This is to generate an SRT signal. Hey, Phil! Phil's monkeying with my P100. He's moving it around in London, England, which is so funny. Dude, that's awesome. Play around with that. That's great. So I'm not controlling my P100. This is just a fun little experiment. Phil is going to take a look at my dirty office and tell me that I need to be more professional once we're done this call. But he's controlling the P100 over the PTZ command, and he can control tally. So if he puts that into vMix and then puts it into his live, oh wait, this one doesn't have tally. P100 doesn't have tally. If it was P200, he could do that. So that's cool stuff. On my matrix, we have all the pluses. So this little module right here is to generate an SRT signal locally. So if you're going to bring this in SRT into like another program, or you're going to send it to another service or something like that, you can convert an NDI signal to SRT and then make it available on your local network in SRT. That's what that is. Same thing with like sending a channel to recording. It's locally done, okay? Or if you want to like regenerate an NDI signal, for example, I can click on this. I can say I want to do an auto grid, which is going to do like a multi-viewer. I want to say clock, cam, and my HDMI. Do I have any more? No. No audio source, please. No PTZ source, because Phil is using the PTZ right now. I want to do 2997. I only need it to be 720. I want to throttle the NDI receive. The quality can be low, and let's connect. All right, now we're generating another NDI signal. So now we open up Studio Monitor. And this is the actual P100, but if I go here, I can look at the multi-viewer preview, and here is the BirdDog Cloud generating a multi-viewer inside the endpoint. So that's pretty cool. And you can make any endpoint do that, from what I understand. I thought I need SRT. No, so when you make the connection between the two, like, so the connection that I have between Phil and I right now is SRT. Cloud is encoding it to SRT and sending it to the other side. And so that's the connect. This is the SRT connection right here. But it's taking an NDI signal, changing it to SRT, sending it across the cloud, and then on his side, decoding it essentially and turning it back into a usable, manipulative NDI signal. So the connection between the two is the SRT. RTMP WebRTC recording NDI is signed as plus, but no SRT. Yeah, I mean, for cloud, you don't need to use the SRT option. For Cloud, you make the connection between your two endpoints like this, and it does the SRT stuff on its side. Now you'll also notice my CPU, while running Streamlabs, is moving along. We're running in the 80s and 90s%, and so this is not an ideal Cloud situation. But Phil is able to manipulate the camera because I sent him PTZ control. The other thing you want to make sure of, Michael from Denmark, what's going on? How are you, QStream? I try not to use people's first names because, you know, you have a username for that. But anyway, so when Bodo got 123, when you're making the connection between the two, this generates the NDR, the SDR, SRT signal. Gosh, and yeah, thanks for joining us, QStream. Welcome back, man. It's been a few days. Good to see you again. So when we are making the connection, Cloud does all that for us behind the scenes. And that's actually what the configuration screen is doing. So remember when I said that you go in here and you select your configuration? That is how do you want your endpoint to encode the signal, which will encode it to SRT and send it out. So that's why this is important. And if you want me to go over this, let me know, because this is a critical part of the whole process. But between your two endpoints, your place in New York, is that what you said? You have one place in New York? Yes. So your source is in New York, and you can click on, so here you would click on the New York endpoint, and you'd follow over to where it says your Berlin endpoint and click here, and then you would set it up that way, and then the endpoint would do the SRT conversion. So busy working a lot from home because of COVID. Yep, working more than normal. That's what happens when you move home and work. Then work doesn't leave. You can't leave it at the office. At which point do you start to see degradation using H.265? How long can you go with bitrate? How low can you go with bitrate? Yeah, QStream. You're speaking my language, man. I've been working from home for 2 years. Okay. Hey, Bodo got 123. You're very welcome. Please ask questions if you have them, because I'd like to clear it up for you, because I want you to make the connection and get going with it, right? So let me know where you're at. I'm gonna go 10 minutes over, guys, because I started 10 minutes late. Well, 6 minutes late today, so we'll go to 12:10 at least. All right, so newsworthy casting. Welcome. I don't recognize your username, so if you're new, welcome. Appreciate that, and thanks for joining us. At which point do you start seeing this signal degrading over 265? All right, this is pretty hard to define, and a lot of things in Cloud are really hard to define, which is why I do this when people ask me those questions, because much of it relies on the encoding process and ability of your computer. If you're going straight 265 or 264, it's basically up to your CPU, and there are 1,000 new CPUs out there. There's just so many variations, so there's no way we can benchmark it, you know. So instead of doing that, we basically try and give some broad guidelines, but your results are going to vary, and that's really the best we can do, because you could always have faster internet or a faster computer or a faster GPU or there's so many variables when it comes to encoding, right? So look, I'll tell you what my specs are, and you're seeing live data right now. The actual packets and lost packets, all right, we're at 1.64% of all the packets that have been sent to Phil. And of those lost packets, none of them have actually been dropped, which means that they've been re-requested. So, you need to think this through. But my specs, I've got a couple of GPUs, older GPUs, 970 G1 gaming, GeForce NVIDIA cards, which is why you see these two blue dials here, whereas over in Phil's land, he doesn't have a GPU that's accelerated enabled, so he doesn't have that option. So on my side, I've got a lot of GPU horsepower, and so I get great results. Oh, by the way, I've got 30 or 50 megs up per second to my internet, which is way more than I need. Granted, when I had 10 up, it didn't work very well. So, just being truthful, it just didn't work very well with a 10 upload speed. So you need a halfway decent upload, and you need a halfway decent computer. And if you're going to do encoding on the CPU without GPU acceleration, you're going to need a really good CPU to do anything substantial, especially at 60 frames, which is what I'm pushing right now. I've transmitted 1.5 megabits. Hang on. I'm fairly new, but we've talked a lot over emails. Okay, cool. Well, nice to finally talk to you in person. It seems like a one-way conversation, kind of. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for joining us. And honestly, if you want faster answers, just join me on Twitch, because I can talk a lot faster than I can type. So, more people to Twitch. I'll try and answer as many of your questions. We often go over because we're into stuff, so. Not frustration. Just kind of like, how do I say this without frustrating the end user? So, that's what that is. Hey, what's going on, Kevin? Bitrate. I've transmitted 1.5 megabits per second, and the image quality is still extremely usable. Definitely lacking bits, but it was acceptable for using camera op preview. See? Oh, wow. That's a wonderful thing to say. Thank you. Yes, actually, the cloud product is surprisingly great with low bandwidth, but it's even better with higher bandwidth. So, yeah, we're thrilled with this product. Like every launch, people are trying to figure out how it fits into their workflow and how do we support it and all that stuff. But like, it's been out for a while now. Came out right in like October, right before pandemic started, and then it took off, so we had to get it right. So this is iteration 2.0, and it's pretty stable, pretty good. And we're working on some new features that'll come out later, and it's going to be even better. So get on board. It's fun stuff, and hopefully you can make good use of it. Anyway, so yeah, good stuff. Halfway decent equals 3970 or better, Trollface. Yeah. Okay, so halfway decent, by the way, is a subjective phrase. What is halfway decent for you is unacceptable for me, or vice versa. So take that with a grain of salt. But it's for many people's applications, it works really well, and we're thrilled with how much success people have had with it so far. Yeah, Nightbot reminds you, we have a knowledge database, and that hopefully in the next 6 months is going to get a whole lot more useful because we're hiring more support people, and that's super exciting for me because that means I'm going to be able to help you with some proactive support, finding answers and not waiting for us to get back to you on email. So you can come to Twitch, get some real live support. This is not a pre-recorded show. Everything you see, including all the mistakes, are for your enjoyment. So come hang out with us twice a week on Twitch. We're going to keep this up, regardless of where the support desk ends up being. QStream, you probably already talked about this. Sorry. Big difference between SRT and WebRTC. Okay, so SRT is really the mode that we use. Actually, it's the mode that a lot of people use for transmitting video over the wide open internet. All right, so SRT has kind of become a bit of a standard. However, WebRTC is a method in which you can send a lot more data to a specific location, and anyone in the internet can be guided to that location, i.e. a website, and can put in a little password and watch the stream. And so SRT is great for point-to-point. WebRTC is great for point-to, let's say, server, and you can access it like you access a live stream on Twitch, which is what you're doing right now. You're interacting with me over a chat module, but quite frankly, my video and everything is just going to twitch.tv, which is an AWAS server, by the way, and you're watching the stream happen in real time on twitch.tv. Now, there's a delay, right? There's like a 15-second delay, so what I'm saying now, it's not going to be said for 15 seconds, but it's pretty close, and you can interact with me in real time in the chat. So that's a really cool thing. WebRTC brings that latency way down, and so it's good enough for interviews, and I've seen it used for interviews where somebody, what happens is they use BirdDogCloud, they send the PTZ, which is what I'm doing with Phil, send the PTZ over to production. Production has PTZ control, just like what Phil was doing. He's moving the camera around from London, and then he generates the show, and he sends me back his feed, with his camera and the show audio. So then when I talk, I might hear myself doubled, but when I talk, and then I can talk to him in real time. And with vMix routing and a few other cool tools, you can eliminate the return feed audio, my audio in the return feed. So then we can have a talking heads actual conversation over WebRTC. So they both have their places. SRT gives us a lot more tunnel. It's a little slower, but it gives us more room for metadata, tally information, audio channels, a bunch of other things. Whereas WebRTC is primarily the finished product going to a host. That's how we use it, I think. Hey, Phil, I think it's time to talk about a license. Pew, pew, pew. Oh, here, we'll do that.
Good news, everyone!
Beep chirp. The 3970 is unacceptable for you. 32 core, 64 thread processor isn't enough. I won't say anything. Other than I won't say anything. Oh, that's good stuff. Oh my gosh, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I appreciate this a lot. I work primarily through a help desk system. It's like a faceless emailing system. And that works for a lot of things, a lot of support cases, but I miss interacting with humans on a regular basis. So this Twitch show has been a savior, especially during pandemic, but talk to folks that are doing stuff in real life. So if it's helpful for you, I'm glad. It's certainly helpful for me. And you being here today is a good thing. So thank you so much for coming out. Oh, we got a whole bunch of people hanging around. That's so cool. 15. I think we have 15 people just on Twitch. And then what's going on here? Let's see what I've got going on the Facebook. This page is out of date. Okay. What? Who's this? Ben then? Welcome. Thanks for stopping by. This is for you. Well done. What's with the latest sub count? Something's wrong. Okay, I'm going to drop this cloud connection. Bye, Phil. And speed up my processor. I'm also going to change scenes real quick to see if my subscriber list will come back. Apparently not. Okay, well, we'll just yoink. Just blank that out for a little bit. Whoopsie daisy. Cool. Thanks for hanging out. Ben, if you're out there, just say hey in the chat. Thanks for following. Appreciate that. Whoa, there's a lot of... Okay. What is this? Newsworthy just subscribed? That's humongous. Make sure it wasn't beep chirp. Thanks, man. That's great. Thank you for that Prime subscription. I appreciate that very much. That helps us legitimize the validity of this channel. Helps me go back to my boss and say, look, people are using it. It's helpful. So, thank you. That's very kind of you. A couple guys over on Facebook. Hey, how's it going, guys? They're on my personal page. I appreciate them hanging out today. And some folks chatting away on the user group today. So, the random chat. I appreciate that. Thanks for stopping by. Makes up for my insane... It wasn't insane, but I do appreciate the membership. That's the subscription. That's really helpful. Cool, cool. Wow. All right. Cool, cool. I am very happy for that. My apologies, by the way, if you use a different channel to get my attention, so like private chat streams or Facebook or or even like if you figure out what my personal email is, it's not that hard. My email here at the company, there's a good chance I won't see it for quite a while. However, if you send us a help desk, I will see it because that's where I live. So I spend a lot of time over at the help desk, and that is. Oh wait, so now that you just did, look at that. So it's just that it timed out. Newsworthy is now listed as the latest sub. So, all right, I'll put it back up there. Anyways, if you contact me in a non-traditional way outside of the support system that I have set up here at BirdDog, I will eventually see it. I may not see it extremely quickly, but you know, we'll try. I'll try and get to it. But if you really want me to see it, or you want support, then yeah, hit me up at help@bird-dog.tv. Now, just to go over something real quick, we are changing over our support system. We're trying to get better about how we handle our tickets and how it gets handled, and we're bringing on more people, so it needs to be scalable and that sort of stuff. So in regards to that, we're changing over to a new system, and we probably won't keep the help@bird-dog.tv email, and the support at Freshdesk will also be gone. So going forward, you guys have heard it here first, and I would really appreciate it if we start talking about that once we make the change in our social media channels, because everybody's going to want to know where to get support. We're going to have a web form that you can fill out. It'll come straight to me, and then we can coordinate over email, or my team, and we'll coordinate over email. But we need to do better about making sure that you get somebody that can help you in your time zone. So that's one of the pieces that we're trying to answer and figure out how to do that right. And we can do that based on location. So that will be a part of that quick little web form. We'll ask you some pretty simple questions and have a spot for you to fill out additional information. Submit it. It'll give you a ticket number. We'll talk to you over email, and that'll be good stuff. I want you to get better service out of BirdDog. And right now, the way that we're doing it is it's just kind of like a big giant funnel that's pouring in, and I'm passing everything into Freshdesk and just piling it in there and like pushing it. So we got to do better about that, and I need to. We're talking about providing better service, faster service, and one of those parts of that is having answers available that don't require a person to physically write you an email response, but like having simple or setup or whatever questions, feature explanations, featurettes, tutorials, you know, even network discussions and that sort of stuff, having that all available for you to look at any time. And so that's one of the pieces we really want to ramp up our self-service, portion, which is right now our knowledge database, and I'm just producing videos, but that's good stuff. Beep chirp. So always email BirdDogJon directly and use direct communication channels. Precisely. If you do not want me to respond, then go ahead and send a direct email to me, and I will fulfill that requirement for you. Is there a problem with the new color correction in Control? QStream, what do you mean? What? First of all, what camera? Second of all, what firmware? And third, what version of Cam Control? Because there are different ones for everything. If you're using the P200 firmware, for example, off the website, yes, there is a well-documented problem on Facebook with that firmware, 3373. However, I can get you an update baseboard and beta, which seems to have corrected all of those problems. So you just shoot me an email at help@bird-dog.tv. You guessed it. And I can get you that beta, no problem. Let me know if that's what you want. Now, if it's not the P200, P100, there's a beta for the P100 as well. There's also, if you re-download Cam Control, if you haven't done it in the past couple of days, uninstall yours, re-download the new one, and update the firmware, and Bob's your uncle. So that should be good. But yeah, you let me know what you need, man. The corrections are all in beta. I read in the Facebook group for BirdDog that there was added hue saturation in control software. You mean Cam Control. And response was something like great and then strange problems. Yes. So the download version for whatever firmware you have, we found that there was a the way that we were querying the board was throwing errors for the new cam control. So we've changed the way we do that so that it is still talking constantly to the camera and getting live updates, but it is querying it differently. And so from what I can tell from my P200, we've corrected that problem in the beta. And if you want the beta, hit me up at the help desk and I will get that for you. That reminds me, I was side-by-siding my P100s on the new firmware and the older one. Okay? Great. Yes, sir. The OSD controls are much snappier and more responsive in 323. Are you regularly using the OSD controls on a camera like that? If you are, I'd be great. I'm just curious if you are or not. Quite frankly, I query the OSD when I'm looking for the SV number. That's about it. Everything else I do in the web UI. Because I'm an NDI shop. I mean, I don't use the SDI outs or anything like that, unless I'm testing a studio or something. But it has its moments, purposes, porpoises. Well, when I need to use the OSD to update settings, to not save color information in my presets. Gosh. The suspense of these sentences is just unbearable, man. And knowing... I was going to say, and knowing Beep Chirp, he's then going to use that against me. Or I wanted to let you know about the performance regression. Either way. Gotcha. So it can be a few things. I haven't verified that. That's news to me if that's the case. But it could be the way that we're querying the OSD is that it may need to wait because the cameras are talking a lot more to the control surfaces. Qstream, peace out, man. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you. So they're querying the OSDs a lot more in terms of what the settings are so that there's more feedback. And it could be that it has to wait for the latest command to clear in the NIC card. And I don't know, I'm speculating here, but it could be that. Oh, hey, don't forget Beep Chirp set up a Discord channel. So those of you who are hanging around and you want to continue this conversation, Beep Chirp did what I can't do or didn't do. He set up a unofficial, unsupported BirdDog user group. And so it is here. Click on that link. Come hang out with us over there. Whoa, there's like all sorts of activity. What is 96 messages? Oh my word. What is going on here? Yes, I had this. Wait. Guys, I'm struggling with the P200 no sync firmware. Control is still not working and the image is upside down and it's all yellowish. Oh my gosh. Dude. There's like all sorts of activity in here. Hey, come hang out with us over here. Oh, and look, Newsworthy's in there. Yeah, that's me. Hey, Newsworthy, how's it going? Newsworthy, do you want the beta, the P200 beta? The one that fixes all this stuff? No need to be sorry, that's what it's there for. Morning, John. Oh, yeah. Sorry. So sometimes I'm not in here, guys. Sorry. Newsworthy. Sorry, man. I'll try and do better about being in Discord. It's like a live chat that I'm not paying attention to. But the good news is Beep Chirp is usually on the ball, and it looks like you're having a good conversation between you and Kevin. When you say it isn't appearing anymore, it's completely off the network, or is it? Gotcha. Do you see Bonjour scan? Oh, Newsworthy has the beta. Installing Bonjour now. Bonjour sees it. I can also access it with a local. Okay, I won't read this live. If you want to join our conversation in Discord, please do. That link that's in the chat here, and let me know if you want it again. I can put it in here. But if you're not in there yet, join us over there. And there's a whole bunch of you that are hanging out. So thanks for hanging out, guys. Man, this is so cool. I like it. I like this little NDI chat community that we have. And Beep Chirp is going to remind you where that Discord channel is anyway. So I don't have, for what it's worth, I don't have the beta. Why not? Can I create a topic in here, like a text channel? Right? Or do you have to do that, Beep Chirp? I'm going to need some support on Discord. Server settings. You would think that there would just be like a create a channel type of thing, right? No, you have admin, but the top 3 channels are admin posting only. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Because you didn't give it to me? Did you ask me for it? Resources, maybe? Resources. Maybe I have to contact their support desk. Third party interrupt. You just created something, I think. I had mentioned I had a P200 and asked leadingly what firmware I should be running on it, but I never expected so that can I. Oh, okay. Well, I can get you that if you want that. You should hit me up at the help desk. I'll give you that. There is a beta out there, and I've been seeding it out to people who have been having these issues with the current firmware that's still available on the website. So I've been trying to just get it out to people to get it tested, and not giving it to just everybody, but for guys that are genuinely in production or whatever that need something fixed. There's still a couple of things they're going to tighten up before final firmware, but it's the coloration stuff and the going gray and the flip problem and whatever, that's all fixed. The vMix virtual input stuff we talked about on Tuesday or last Thursday maybe, is not fixed. Got a couple tickets about that this morning actually. Cool. Oh, resources. Maybe here are links to things like beta firms. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Whoops. Cool. Alrighty. Well, I probably need to stand up and stretch my legs, so I'm gonna call it, guys. I had a hang on, but to add a new channel, simply hit the plus sign in the section you want to add. Edit channel. There's no plus sign. I think you have that right, which is fine. Cheers, John. Newsworthy, thanks for hanging out. I'm going to read your Discord stuff and then hopefully catch up to speed. If you need anything else, though, and you want to just talk to me one-on-one, this is probably the best venue. Twice a week, 11 to 12 Eastern Time, here on Twitch. Try and be pretty consistent for you so that you know that the show will happen. As time goes along, and I'm not necessarily the only person in the help desk, I hope to be able to give you some more stuff on this channel. Maybe interviews and stuff like that, so... Yeah, Beep Chirp, I don't have that. Anyway, so I hope to give you a little bit more information, and we can... Oh. Thanks, Pandorica. See? My moderators are even up and running. Appreciate that. The... Become famous. Buy followers. All right, so I'm gonna leave it here. We're gonna run over to Discord. If you guys want to keep chatting, that's perfectly fine. Hit us up over there. I'm going to start working in the help desk. I was up really late last night answering tickets because I just love answering tickets. So just kidding. Don't submit some just for fun. Anyway, so I worked into the night doing that. I want to get on it here today and take care of some more cases. I have a goal for this week and I have another goal for next week. It's kind of lofty, but I think I can do it. So here we go. We will roll as a... so we'll do this again on Tuesday. And hopefully I won't butcher the day like I did last Tuesday. But we are up against the weekend. We got 1.5 more days to go here in Michigan. And wherever you are on the planet, thank you so much for hanging out with us. I appreciate how much traffic you've got in here. Pandorica, thank you so much. I think that's the first time you've exercised your moderation rights. So thank you for taking care of that. I appreciate that big time. And taking care of that user as well. All right, folks. I will see you on Tuesday, near the beginning of next week, to discuss more NDI Chat, hang out with you guys, and have a good time. Please tell your friends and family, aunts and uncles, moms and dads about the exciting NDI Chat you just had today, and bring them along. Quite frankly, just your coworkers, more than likely, and anybody that's in this realm. And I'd be happy to talk to them about NDI, do some cloud stuff, do whatever you want. We can talk about software, whatever. We don't even have to talk about NDI, but I like building this little connection. That way, if you join us at a trade show or if you see us on videos and that sort of thing, you kind of know some of the faces of the company. And so hoping that this has been helpful and it provides you with an avenue to talk directly to BirdDog and express concerns, maybe some constructive criticism, maybe some design ideas, all that sort of good stuff. So we'll see you on Tuesday. Excited? Have a great weekend. I will talk to you guys again very soon. Please join us as soon as you can. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. So let's do the outro video. Boom. See you next week.